Yes, it's almost that time again. It's almost time for an Aliexpress sale. And today I want to share with you 10 watches under 100 US dollars. Hello, you're watching James. My name's James. You're watching me, and I'm talking about watches. And if you're like me, you're a little bit excited about the upcoming sale. I always get a little bit excited about Aliexpress sales, but I have to admit, I've been trying to sort of focus more on the budget end of watches from Aliexpress. There's a few that are a little bit more expensive that I really like, and then now, after experiencing them, I'm really happy to buy. But really, I want to get a few more of the much more super affordable budget watches. Watches that I think Aliexpress does so well. Watches that I think are far beyond the price that they actually have listed on them. So every watch that I'm going to show you today is under 100 US dollars. I'm not actually going to mention the prices of these watches. Just know that they're under 100 US dollars. Now, some of the watches I'm going to show you I have actually experienced, some I've actually spoken about before, and some I've never spoken about before and they're brand new to me. And all of them get me a little bit excited because for 100 US dollars or less, you end up with a really cool mechanical watch. And after watching this video, if you are interested in buying any of these watches, I'm going to leave some affiliate links down below. They'll take you directly to these watches, but of course, wait for the sale to start before buying them. If you do choose to use them, thank you so much because I do actually earn a tiny little bit of commission. Now, the first watch I want to talk about has been talked about endlessly by everybody, including myself, the Steeldive Captain Willard 1970. For under 100 Australian dollars, these watches are amazing value. And if you like this style of watch, and if you are on a budget, this is one that definitely should be on your shopping list if it has not been already. The next one's something different. I haven't seen it before. It's a Ruiyi, R-U-I-Y-I, Ruiyi. I don't know how to pronounce that, I'm sorry. But it's called the Ultra Thin. And it has this sort of vintage sort of look to it. But what is really interesting about it is that it's mechanical and it's ultra thin. It's only 8mm thick. Thankfully, it's not a huge watch. Some of these watches on AliExpress, which are being a little bit thinner and using sort of hand-wind mechanical movements, tend to be a bit bigger, which I have spoken about a few times before. But this one here, it's only 40mm case diameter. So it's 40mm by 8mm thick. Hand-winding mechanical movement, as I said, has some real sort of vintage dress vibes to it, which I think is quite cool, especially those hands. And I like that it has that sort of pop of red at the 12 there. Gives it a little bit of something. And for under 100 US dollars, I'm actually really interested in this one. I think it's quite cool. And at number 3, I don't think you can talk about this super affordable end of the market, especially when you talk about mechanical watches on AliExpress, without talking about Tandorio. And this is one of 3 watches I'm going to be talking about today from Tandorio because I really think they offer some of the best value on AliExpress. This one here is like a pilot or a field watch. It comes powered by the Seiko NH35. It is on the smaller side. It's a 36mm. And they actually do some really interesting watches in this size, Tandorio. I think it's probably a similar sort of case shape, but there's a few different dial variations. So if you like 36mm watches, definitely worth checking out. Because it comes with sapphire crystal. You can get it with or without the logo. So if you don't like the name Tandorio, you can get a no logo variation of it. And I think for this sort of price, the quality, the style, and the dimensions, if you like those smaller dimensions, well worth considering. And whenever I talk about the super affordable end of the market for mechanical watches, especially when I'm talking AliExpress watches, I have to always mention the Pagani design YS003. And I have to always mention it because it's definitely one of my favorite watches that I've ever experienced off AliExpress. And it's definitely probably my favorite watch that is at this sort of price range on AliExpress. Now they call it a pilot, and yes, I know I talk about pilots a lot, but I actually don't look at this and go, yes, that's a pilot watch, but I can see why it sort of has that sort of pilot inspirations to it. It has a 41mm case diameter. You can get it with a white or a blue dial. I like the white dial because it has those blue hands, and that's the one that I owned, and I thought it was really cool. Powered by the Seiko NH35. Date window at 6 o'clock, which I think makes all the difference with this watch. But I will say the strap that comes with it, it's not particularly nice. Definitely consider buying another strap when you're looking at buying this one. Another watch that I think is absolutely on this list now, and I've actually mentioned it recently, but because I want to talk about what I think is one of the best watches at this price range at the moment, I have to include it again. It's the Boddery Titanium field watch, in particular this black variation. I think this one looks really good. It's powered by an 8 series Miyota movement. It has a 40mm case diameter, sapphire crystal, and as I mentioned, titanium. And at this sort of price range, I think you're getting a lot of bang for your buck with this watch. And now I've owned a Phylida before, and it really surprised me how amazing it was for the price. And this one here, this one really interests me. This is the Phylida Aqua, I'm not going to say it, but you know what watch this one is, Homage. 40mm case diameter, which I think is awesome. Seiko NH35 powered, domed sapphire crystal, 100 meters of water resistance, 20 millimeter lug width, comes with a full stainless steel bracelet. And I think at this price, for this style of watch, powered by this movement, from a brand that I know the quality is going to be outstanding, I think this definitely should be considered one of the better watches at this price range. And let's jump back to Tandorio, and we're talking about the Tandorio GMT. And specifically, I want to talk about this one because I know the quality of Tandorio is good, and I know this one comes with the Seiko NH34 GMT movement, and I know this one is under $100 US, and that is saying a lot for this watch. It's going to be reasonably well made, it looks good, powered by a great movement, and it's so cheap. I think this is probably one of the cheapest Seiko GMT movement watches that I've seen out there. It also comes with sapphire crystal, and there's quite a few different color options as well. There's the red, there's the blue, there's the green, and there's an all black as well. So if you like this style of watch and you want a Seiko GMT movement in your collection, but you don't want to spend too much money, this one is probably going to be one of the best ones you can buy. And whilst we're still talking about Tandorio, let me talk about the last one that's on my list. And it's one I've actually experienced before. I was blended by a friend of mine, and it was one of the watches that really stood out to me. It is the Tandorio 62 Mass, a watch that really impressed me, especially in this price category. This one's powered by the Seiko NH35 as well, 41mm case diameter, has a sapphire crystal, 300 meters of water resistance. Well, maybe it does. This one I'm showing you has the grey dial. I think that looks really cool, and that's the one that I saw, but it also comes with a blue dial as well. Certainly a watch that really stood out to me when I had the opportunity to have some hands-on experience with it. And probably one of the most solid watches on this list is this Addiesdive Full Steel Tuna. Yes, this is obviously a homage of a Seiko, so although it might be quite a big looking watch, being a sort of homage of a Seiko, it has those homaged dimensions as well, because it is a 47mm case diameter, which sounds huge, but I know the lug to lug will be much smaller, so it will definitely fit on a lot of people's wrists. Lots of different color variations as well. There's a black and a green and a blue, 300 meters of water resistance, lots of AR coating on a sapphire crystal as well. This style of watch, I actually think it's kind of cool, but I don't really want to spend so much money to get the original. It's not that cool to me. But to be honest, getting one that's homage at this sort of price that looks this good may well be worth putting on my own personal wish list. And the last one is something a bit different to me. I haven't seen this one before. I haven't seen this brand before. It's the Duka 109. It comes with the silver, blue, black, or green dial. I'm going to show the silver one. I have a bit of a thing for silver dials and watches. Powered by the NH35, 44mm case diameter, sapphire crystal, 100 meters of water resistance. Has a really cool looking case back with some hammerhead sharks on it and a milled clasp. This is probably one of the better looking sort of dive style watches I've seen on Aliexpress lately. I'm not sure if it's a brand new release, but it's certainly brand new to me because I have not seen it before. So I'm really hoping they gave you some ideas about buying some super affordable watches in the upcoming Aliexpress sale. And for some other options and some for other watches that it might be worthwhile considering in the sale, I'm going to leave a couple of links to some videos that I've posted previously. Well worth checking out.